Tonight, two remarkable schools meet in a clash of wit, skill, and strategy. St. Mary's Lwak Girls and Waa Boys High School. This is more than a debate. It's a showdown between two distinct styles, two powerful journeys, and one ultimate goal: victory on the national stage. From the heart of Siaya County, on stage today are the formidable St. Mary's Lwak Girls, a symbol of excellence, discipline, and intellectual finesse. At the regionals, they stepped forward with one mission: to prove that their voice, their strategy, and their legacy stand tall among Kenya's greatest debating schools. From the very first round, Lwak Girls showed exactly why they are a force. Point after point, argument after argument, they delivered with precision, calm, structured, and unshaken. Their mastery of analysis, their clarity in delivery, and their ability to break down even the toughest motions left competitors stunned. Round by round, they rose, from the knockouts to the quarters into the semis and finally the regional finals. The competition intensified, but so did Lwak. Their arguments became sharper, their teamwork tighter, their resolve stronger. Each victory carried their legacy forward. Each stage reaffirmed their dominance in the Nyanza regional circuit. And when the final bell rang, their triumph was undeniable. St. Mary's Lwak Girls had secured their place on the national stage. Their journey is a testament that greatness is earned through preparation, courage, and conviction. St. Mary's Lwak Girls, true queens of the debate arena. From the vibrant coast region, on stage stands the unstoppable Waa Boys High School, a team defined by resilience, passion, and unapologetic brilliance. At the regionals, they walked in with one goal: to rise above the odds and cement their place among Kenya's elite debaters. From the very first knockout, Waa Boys made their presence felt. Their delivery was bold, their analysis sharp, and their confidence unmatched. Round after round, they unleashed arguments that were powerful, punchy, and impossible to ignore. With every stage, they grew louder, stronger, and more strategic. Through the quarters, into the semis, and straight to the regional finals, Waa Boys showed the heart of true contenders, never backing down, never losing focus, never letting the pressure dim their fire. Their journey through the coast region was a display of grit and brilliance intertwined. And when the final round concluded, their victory was well earned. Waa Boys had secured their ticket to the nationals. Their rise proves that champions are crafted through hunger, discipline, and fearless ambition. Waa Boys High School, the undisputed warriors of the debate stage.
Only 29% of the young women globally make or receive digital payments. What about the rest? Ladies and gentlemen, these are not just mere numbers on paper.
Feminism has wrapped the perception of family. It's just about women's freedom, but about the stability of our household.
Financial education ignores gender barriers young women face. Many financial programs focus on skills like saving, investing, budgeting, which are essential tools, yes, but they often assume that everyone starts from the same place.
If we wait for the perfect program, we will never empower anyone. Progress beats perfection for everyone.
The opposition have ignored the key barrier our young women face, which include 1. Limited access to digital tools, 2. Gender pay gap and informal work, 3. Caregiving and teen poverty, 4. Financial and lack of control.
Most socioeconomic factors of society influence the kind of money decisions we make. And in this entire season, we've been doing financial literacy debates, and at the heart of today's conversation is issues that women face when it comes to spending money and financial inclusion. The motion of dissection reads today: most financial literacy programs are designed without considering the specific financial challenges young women face, making them less effective in empowering women financially. I'll read the motion of dissection again. Most financial literacy programs are designed without considering the specific financial challenges young women face, making them less effective in empowering women financially. Proposing and opposing this motion, we have St. Mary's Lwak versus Waa Boys High School. All the best to both teams. Team proposition first speaker, you have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, picture a young woman starting out full of dreams. But deep down, she faces unequal pay, unspoken expectations, and student loans. She turns to financial literacy programs only to find out they do not align with the social reality. We believe that these financial literacy programs ignore the real challenges these young women face, hence making them less effective in empowering young women. Carrying the legacy of the coastal region in front of his Kenyatta David from the Great Waa High, ready to propose this motion that reads, most financial literacy programs are designed without considering the specific financial challenges young women face, making them less effective in empowering young women financially. On to definition of terms. Financial literacy, knowledge and understanding of financial concepts and risk, according to OECD 2023. Financial literacy program, structured educational initiatives aimed at improving financial knowledge, behaviors, and attitudes. Special financial challenges, gender-specific barriers such as gender pay gap, caregiving responsibilities, lower retirement, etc. Young women, female aged 18 to 30 years, often facing unique socioeconomic challenges. On to my first legal point of argument, digital financial gap. Ladies and gentlemen, the main reason as to why our financial literacy programs are ineffective is because they do not address digital financial gap. Take an example of early microfinance institution, MFI. Talk of limited access to technology, talk of cultural and gender barriers, talk of lack of digital confidence and skills. All these cause a disconnect between design of financial literacy programs and the real-life digital challenges that young women face. Take an example of India, where IMF studies found that young women were 28% less likely to adopt mobile money due to lack of digital literacy and phone access. Still, digital financial. I'm not basing in India. Let me try to go global a bit. In the World Bank's Global Findex Report 2023 shows that only 29% of the young women globally make or receive digital payments. What about the rest? Ladies and gentlemen, these are not just mere numbers on paper. There's no way we can bury our heads in the sand and assume there's no problem with these financial literacy programs. Ladies and gentlemen, even Noah himself would not wait for rain to build the ark. Let us build our ark now and correct these financial literacy programs. On my second legal point of argument, young women face career interruption. Most financial literacy programs do not consider these career interruptions faced by young women. When I talk about career interruption, what do I mean? Less breaks in work experience, fewer opportunities for promotion, and less time to contributing to our retirement accounts. And this financial timeout always creates a lasting gap in wealth accumulation, making it harder for women to build a financial security. There's no empowerment if there's still financial insecurity. Ladies and gentlemen, take an example in the United States, where 63% of the American young women take career break due to caregiving, according to Pew Research Center 2022 report. The National Institute of Retirement Security 2021 report, women are 47% more likely than men to be out of workforce for caregiving, which directly impacts their retirement saving. I would like to give you a story about my sister, who was enrolled in a financial literacy program for about a week. Ladies and gentlemen, she took a loan by the use of this knowledge to start a business, a loan which had a period of 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, in between came up pregnancy. Fortunately or unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, you know what she did? She had to break from a career for caregiving duties. And what was the result? The business could not service the loan. And do you know what they did? They came and took the assets to compensate for the loss. Thank you.
Feminism has wrapped the perception of family. It's just about women's freedom, but about the stability of our household. This one is a famous quote by Edward Blake. Now, on to Troy proposition. You have just been telling us about these financial literacy programs. Can you please tell us the specific financial literacy programs that have failed to consider the specific challenges faced by these women? Magak Marceline from the St. Mary's Lwak Girls, standing firm to oppose the motion that states most financial literacy programs are designed without considering the specific financial challenges young women face, making them less effective in empowering women financially.
We as team opposition stand firm to oppose and say that these financial literacy programs do consider young women, and we are here to prove their effectiveness. Now, I'll go down and break the motion for you so that you can travel this journey together. Financial literacy programs. What are financial literacy programs? These are initiatives aimed at teaching people how to manage money in aspects such as saving, budgeting, using credits, using loans, taking loans from banks, and etc. Specific challenges young women face. These are points to barrier like cultural norms, caregiving roles, limited access to credit, lower digital literacy, and economic barriers. In empowering young women financially, this one is focusing on the goal of helping young women gain financial independence in confidence and control over their economic lives. The examples of challenges that young women face. These are like digital divide, cultural and social norms, gender pay gap and career interruption, lack of mentorship, role models, and intersectional barrier. And to my first point, adaptive technologies. Many young women juggle jobs such as studies, caregiving roles. These adaptive technologies lets them learn on their schedule through mobile access, short models or reminders via audio credit. If you were to say that these financial literacy programs were really inconsiderate, they would have been having a specific time in which they expect everyone to use them at the same time. But you find that women usually have some responsibilities to do at home. And these adaptive technologies, there are examples of VRS, Team Lab, Lab for You, Khan Academy. They allow them to go and access them at their own free time. Statistics say that a 2025 study by the Bureau of Statistics on 15th January 2023 says that 37.8 increase from 33% in financial knowledge acquisition with adaptive technology. Young adults using specialized learning tools retain financial concepts 6 months longer than those taught via lectures. Take, for example, women like Tiffany Alish, famously known as the Budgetnista, who came up with a financial literacy program known as an adaptive knowledge known as the River Challenge, which is an adaptive technology that has helped about 18,000 people to gain financial literacy. And out of these 18,000 people, we find that 1,092 are women. Now, my question to team proposition, if financial literacy was so ineffective, why are millions of women using them to start businesses, save money, and build futures? With that, arrest me.
In front of the house today is an amateur lawyer from a school acknowledged with its feats in completely obliterating its opponent's points piece by piece. My name is Abdul Chiti, all the way from the coastal region, Waa Boys High School, proposing the motion that states most financial literacy programs are designed without considering the specific financial challenges young women face, making them less effective in empowering women financially. First of all, let's give some of their points a quick reality check. The opposition argues that programs are successful, but what they fail to contemplate is success for some doesn't mean success for everyone. So the question isn't whether they're truly accessible, relatable, or useful to young women. And on that front, they failed. So if you're going to gather your points using OpenAI, I suggest you properly prompt your questions. You also mentioned that we didn't mention financial literacy programs that have failed to empower young women. My first speaker clearly mentioned Ali Microfinance Institution, MFI, and My Money Government in the United States. Those are two, just to mention a few. Now, because I've completely hydrolyzed all of their points and they're stacked in heaven, let me present mine. Why do I say that this motion is completely correct and it's completely true? One, because gender barriers are still a thing. Financial education ignores gender barriers young women face. Many financial programs focus on skills like saving, investing, budgeting, which are essential tools, yes, but they often assume that everyone starts from the same place. Young women face structural challenges that go unacknowledged, like gender pay gaps, unpaid caregiving roles, unequal access to formal employment, and restricted control over financial decisions. These programs rarely address the social pressure and systematic limitations that uniquely affect young women. So while busy learning about budgeting, they're also fighting invisible ceilings and centuries-old expectations. Secondly, programs assume equality in access and time. Members of the House, I think it is clearly evident that it's not a level playing field when one side is running with weights on their ankles. Well, team opposition, I'd like you to listen to this. Many financial literacy programs assume that all youth, regardless of their gender, have equal access to technology, free time, and support. But this is not true, team opposition, isn't it? Because globally, young women are more likely to be caregivers, married young, or denied education completely. Shocker, right? Well, I can prove it to you. According to UNICEF in 2022, adolescent girls in sub-Saharan Africa spend 3 times more hours per day in household tasks than boys. And in the 254, less than 1 in 4 rural girls have a bank account or access to mobile money. So if a young woman is caring for her siblings, attending school, and lacks mobile data, she cannot equally benefit from these digital financial programs designed for boys in Nairobi. Third, representation. The little things matter. You might think that little things don't matter, but they actually really do matter. Little things like lack of female role models and mentorship in content. I know I might be annoying the opposing team by saying so, but truth be said, you can't be what you can't see. When programs only showcase successful men CEOs, successful men entrepreneurs, successful men bankers, it shows a clear message that wealth is male, which is not true. Yet when young women see relatable stories about other people like them, they get empowered to do the same. Young women who started a business, young women who use microloans to manage their careers, it empowers them to do the same. So ladies and gents, lads and lasses, let me be the one to clear your eyes and paint a clear image of the world for you to see. Inspiration isn't fluff. It is fuel. Thank you.
Like an accountant carries a briefcase to the bank, I carry my brain to this podium to fill us all with financial literacy. That is why Ida Blessing from the St. Mary's Lwak is here to oppose the motion that states most financial literacy programs are designed without considering the specific financial challenges young women face, making them less effective in empowering women financially. Success. That's just as the opponents have said. We are talking about financial literacy and the programs that failed to consider the specific challenges that young women face. Take note of that. And therefore, we don't need a custom-made suit to teach someone to learn how to manage their wallet. Money for basic financial skills fits everyone. With that said, it is and it will still be unfair to dismiss all the literacy effort as ineffective. Talking of lack of role models, perhaps you don't know how many role models we have out there. Let me bring you into a world of great women who are also our role models. We have the great Vanessa Baldwin of South Africa, who founded a Mints accounting to help women underrepresented to imitate the great Vanessa Baldwin of South Africa, who formed Mints accounting to help women understand personal finance. You also talked about gaps. Impact improves despite gaps. Why am I saying this? According to the World Bank study done on 2022 May, clearly state that 77% financial literacy initiative double saving activity among rural women initiatives. And therefore, dear audience, esteemed judges, walk with me as we dive into this motion deeper. And to my first point, improved inclusivity. Now, many programs today like the Zana African Foundation and Little Light Foundation do attempt to segment audiences and tailored content. Some of these we have such as the Equity Young African Work Kenya, which struggles and offer module especially for underrepresented women, even integrating mentorship and peer networks. We have the Unconscious Bias at Work program. This is a program that is focused on economic empowerment for minority women, young women included, and also the LGBTQ and disabled individuals. What did this lead to? It led to visibility and growth of underrepresented entrepreneurs like young women. Why don't you see that? According to the Global Gender Initiative, it also makes us understand that the World Bank's Global Findex data study done on 22nd May 2021 clearly states that that female financial inclusion rose from 51%, meaning the 49% was still left out, which was later made in 2021 up to 74% globally. A major leap driven by targeted financial education and digital access. Now my question is, and all these are in line with SDG number 10, which reduced inequality. It focused on dismantling barriers that you are talking about that excluded peoples based on age, gender, disability, ethnicity, economy, and status. Before I sit, if we wait for the perfect program, we will never empower anyone. Progress beats perfection for everyone. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of the House, let's take a moment to reflect. If financial literacy programs are effective, then why do we still see our young women being disappropriately affected by student debts, financial abuse, and limited to access resources? As the third speaker from the proposition desk, I am here to wrap up our case, dismantle the team opposition case. Leave no doubt in your mind. Cock my academic gun and shoot without missing. Carrying the legacy of the coastal region, I go by the name Kasim Warua from the one and only Waa Boys High School to strongly propose this motion. Ladies and gentlemen, the opposition have ignored the key barrier our young women face, which include 1. Limited access to digital tools, 2. Gender pay gap and informal work, 3. Caregiving and time poverty, 4. Financial and lack of control. We as team proposer, we have exposed how this program fail in design and delivery. From my first speaker talking about digital financial gaps, career interruption, and our second speaker talked about the hearts of our case, gender barriers, which include gender pay gap, unpaid caregiving roles, and equal access to formal unemployment and cultural expectations. Ladies and gentlemen, into my first bullets, investments in ignorance. Saving nice, but investing is like giving your man a jetpack. Girls need to grow their money to catch up with the men, but some of these programs focus on savings. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware about all those shamas that our young women take and participate at home. But do these shamas focus on investing? No, they focus on saving, and saving. Yes, it is a core financial principle, but investing is the main thing. Since they don't address this, they'll remain to be ineffective. Statistical proof shows that in Kenya, only 10% of women invest in stocks or bonds compared to men. This is a research from the CMA 2024 report. So let not the proposer sell us dreams wrapped in lab coats. Ladies and gentlemen, into my second bullet. Ignoring financial abuse in relationship. The real monster in the house is financial abuse in relationship. Not all the case that the team opposition are trying to give us. Ladies and gentlemen, young women are at higher risk of intimate partner violence, including financial abuse where partner lack access to money or credit. Yes, our young women know how to save and know how to budget, but do they have the access when it comes to the matter concerning finances? No, their partner are the ones fully control of these finances. Statistical proof shows that 1 in 4 women experience financial abuse in relationship, and this is a report from the National Network to End Domestic Violence 2024. My honorable judges, this debate is not just about what financial literacy look like, it's what it leaves behind. From the team proposition, we proudly propose. I raise my case.
Yes, financial literacy isn't a magic one, but it's a start. Blaming the one for not fixing the system misses the point then. So, tell me, how can you book a ticket in a city where there existed no buses? So, you cannot be drawing road maps by not considering the travelers who are there in the bus. So let us dive deeper. Lawyer Shitty told us about, let's say, perhaps access. Women have access, and this access they are given because of financial literacy. So we are talking about the programs, and some of the programs that have helped us are such as the Global Banking Alliance in Brooklyn, New York, and the Care Kenya program funded. So talking about the barriers such as gender pay gaps, here is your point. Don't worry, I'm here for you. So notice, community dialogues and gender analysis bring forth SDG number 5, meaning that gender equality to empower women leadership through financial literacy. So all of you are welcome. So on to my first point, evidence of impact on entrepreneurship. In Latin, that is the BBVA Microfinance Foundation, helped over 4.5 million low-income earners, that is entrepreneurs, especially young women. And this one, women startup activity, that is according to the Bureau of Statistics 2024, 10.1% in 2022, showing engagement when programs are accessible. This contribute to SDG number 1, meaning no poverty, and SDG number 8 by fostering sustainable livelihood. So improve financial literacy among young women. You might be asking yourself, team proposition. Programs like the Next Gen Personal Finance, the NGPF, as all of us know, and the Coursera offer free tailored content that young women are actively using, because you know that women here, young women, like the free men, free cars, and even free husbands, and all of us know about that. So without financial education, young women are more likely to be financially dependent. The absence of information is what undermines the autonomy, not the structure programs. So, the Care Kenya program found in Kenya, as I told you before about gender equality, that community dialogue and gender analysis through the project like the Cascade Care Kenya held community sessions in Nairobi, Nyandarua, and Nakuru to confront these harmful effects, such as the idea that men should be having the best parts of meals because they are working harder. And these efforts have helped normalize women's leadership challenge, food taboos, and promote equitable households. As I said before, SDG number 5 solved. And then, coming to examples as have been given to the case study in 2024 Kenya, we were told that Elizabeth Sinei of Kajiado County, example of an entrepreneur, that is a role model. The Elizabeth Sinei is a widow, a Maasai widow community who founded the Osiligi Women Group and then became successful a long time, and also a successful dairy farmer. And then that program called Osiligi, the group now runs a tree nursery and promotes financial education. Example is there. Then also Grameen Foundation to Africa and Asia, that is globally. We find that training community urges to deliver financial education via mobile technology connects over 1.65 million women to digital financial services, such as me. I'm also a bank holder, KCB Bank, and we also have KDIC teaching us there, empowering women with confidence. I rest my case.
You claim you understand financial literacy, but you keep on narrating stories from your books. You know, even a toddler can say a story from a book and make it seem real, right? Well, we as Team Proposition have fed you with the enough reasons why financial literacy programs have failed young women. They ignore wage gaps, caregiving, spending pressures, specific debts, rural challenges, financial exclusion, investment needs, and confidence gaps. Stats like 20% lower wages in Kenya and 55% confidence gaps globally shows that these programs miss girls' unique needs, making them less effective. from Nairobi to Nepal, girls are just left with half a toolbox. The opposition says that these programs work. We say that these programs are just like a phone with no signal. Useless without the right connection. Vote for the motion. Thank you.
Surprise, surprise. This program. Which programs are you specifically talking about? Because as the team opposition, we've clearly stated the programs and how they have tried to solve the specific challenges that young women face. Apart from that, we expected you to give us the solution. Where are the solutions? Inclusion in women in co-design community-based models are often involving women in co-creating content. Blaming the design overlooks successful participatory approaches. Digital tools aren't barriers. In fact, they are bridges. Why am I saying this? Women are crossing over them very fast. Honorable judges, esteemed members of the House, while challenges exist, believing this motion overstates the problem and ignores the progress being made, and therefore financial literacy programs are not statics. They are adapting, innovating, and increasingly tailored. And therefore, we urge you all to come and join us to focus on strengthening and not discriminating their impact. Our proposers, please come and join us. Welcome, brothers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll start by saying that this has been the closest round we've had so far in terms of finding things to distinguish between the teams. It came down to a very marginal win, so congrats to both teams. Let's just a few things to highlight on feedback. I think from the first speaker of team proposition, he talked about how these programs do not cater for career interruptions and these types of things, these literacy programs, but which are these most financial literacy programs that don't cater for career interruptions and this type of thing. Because at the end of the day, the argument is valid, but the setup needed to be what these most financially literacy programs likely look like for them to not cater for these career interruptions in the first place. That is to say that majority of what we get from both sides, they are like good arguments, but they are arguments that are, okay, are they relevant to the extent in which they're set up within the debate? What do I mean by this? There's these arguments that come from team proposition in regards to how violence takes place within relationships and intimate partner violence, right? But then, does that speak true to what the motion is about? Does it address whether or not financial literacy programs, their design excludes women? You see, that link needed to be proven in terms of the logic to make that connect. Again, from team opposition, in as much as you give examples, I mean, by the third speech in team opposition, we got to know that you all know what it is you are researching. But again, we needed to see that further analysis to show why this is then most financial literacy programs that actually cater to or are specific enough for women in and of themselves. Otherwise, it was a very good round in terms of style and conviction. And other things that we look at beyond the content, both teams are equally good, very expressive speakers. All the best to both teams. Thank you.
A round of applause for both teams on stage. I shall move straight to announcing the results. The judges have awarded Waa Boys School with 63.75%. A round of applause, please, for Waa Boys. And the judges have awarded St. Mary's Lwak with 63.73%. A round of applause, please, for St. Mary's Lwak, making Waa Boys the winners of this round with a very small margin. A round of applause, please, to the gentlemen for their debate. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of yet another episode here at the Debate Circle. I have been your host, Jin Achieng, and until next time, it is goodbye from us. Remember to check our social media handles, that's at the Debate Circle, across all our platforms. And until next time, it's goodbye.